Welcome back to Money Rocks. We're very fortunate to have Congresswoman Michele Bachmann from Minnesota joining us. She happens to have started the first Tea Party caucus. Michele, thank you so much for joining us on, guess what, a couple hours after your first ever meeting, is that right?
That's right, Eric. We had a great time. It dramatically exceeded all of our expectations. We had over 24 members come to this very first meeting. That's unprecedented. And remember what the purpose was. Members of Congress sat in chairs and listened to real people with real businesses talk to us about their real life situations. It couldn't have been better. Members were really wowed by what they heard. And I think the people who came had an opportunity to be able to speak to us. We had businessmen, businesswomen, we had homemakers, we had senior citizens, we had a wide variety of people, but all with the same message, talking to us about the fact that government shouldn't spend more than what it takes in. We're taxed enough already, and Congress needs to act within the limits of the Constitution. That's what the caucus stands for, and the caucus the purpose isn't to be the mouthpiece of the Tea Party. I'm not the head of the Tea Party. We don't want to co-opt it or run it from D.C. We're not the mouthpiece. We're the earpiece. We're here solely to listen to people. I don't know of any other caucus in Congress that does this, where real congressmen will actually sit in chairs and listen to real people. So I called on Speaker Pelosi to allow us to use Skype, which is free over the internet, so that people across the country could come in and weigh in and talk to us. So when financial services bill, for instance, comes up, we could hear from real people who are going to be impacted by this. They could talk to us directly, and we could have direct input. That's what this is, and the very first person I invited to be a part of the Tea Party caucus is Speaker Pelosi, and I'm hoping she'll join us.
I saw that. I actually got a little kick out of that. I know there's this back and forth going on with you and the Speaker. We actually contacted her office for a comment on it. We have it. We're going to put it up in a second, but I want to stay there for a second. When you said Skype, you told me she's not allowing you to use Skype. Why? What's the problem?
Well, what we've been hearing is that she said she's worried about security concerns, and I have no problem with security concerns, but I've already used Skype numbers of times from the campaign side of what I do. It's worked absolutely beautiful. People love it. Again, it's free, and we can talk to each other at any time. I can be here in D.C. and talk to people at home or around the country. And so we would like to do that with members of Congress here, with anyone around the country, because not everyone can come to D.C. to talk to us.
All right, Congressman, I mentioned that we contacted the House Speaker Pelosi's office. She didn't want to come on camera to comment, but she sent us a comment, and if I can get that up, I'll read it. Guys, if I can get that, there it is. The race in Minnesota's 6th district, regarding your district, Congresswoman, is certainly among the DCC's top Republican races to watch this year because of Michele Bachmann's, listen to this part, complete disregard for the folks in her district struggling in these tough economic times as she attempts to build her national profile on cable news. However, her recent claims are nothing more than Bachmann's affinity for theatrics and wishful thinking over facts on display as she distorts the truth for her own political gain. Some hefty comments. She's lobbing some grenades in there. Michele, go ahead, go for it. If you want to respond to that comment.
Well, I think what this demonstrates is that the Speaker has made me about her top target in the country to defeat this fall. And I think the reason why she probably wants to defeat me because of exactly what happened today. We are saying we want to listen to the people whose lives are being impacted in tremendous ways by this ground-sweeping legislation. I think if the Speaker would join us in this caucus, she would hear what people are trying to say. People back home have been thanking me, saying, Michele, thank you for saying what needs to be said and for challenging not only the Obama administration but Speaker Pelosi for this government takeover of private industry. People don't want that. They want jobs. And unfortunately, the Speaker and President Obama haven't been real successful with job creation. So what we need to do is get spending under control, cut taxes dramatically, and grow jobs.
I want to do this. I'm glad you brought up jobs, Congressman. I had this full screen made. It's the Obama administration's claim of the 3 million jobs created versus, now get this, the Department of Labor's numbers. I picked out 3 states, just out of the blue. 3 states. In Florida, they're claiming to have created 167,000 jobs. The actual number that the Department of Labor tells us, loss of 152. In Georgia, it's 91 created versus 107,000 lost. And in Illinois, 140,000 created versus 155,000 lost. There's a disconnect between the White House and the Department of Labor on how many jobs are created. Please help us clear this up. Which one's right?
Well, it's clear that the statements and the numbers that are coming out of the White House are fiction, pure and simple. It's fiction, and the reality is coming out of the Department of Labor, and that's why the American people are running away in droves away from this administration and away from Speaker Pelosi, and all of their chips now are on November, because people are saying, I want to take my country back, and so many people wish that the president was on the ballot this November. If he was, I have a very strong suspicion that he would not stay in office very long.
Congressman, we only have about 10 or 15 seconds. How does Minnesota's 6 look for you?
Well, it's going to be a really tough race. The polling data right now has me up, but again, it's going to be one of the top races in the country. The Speaker's been out raising money like crazy. She has outside interest groups making me also their #1 target. So they're going to dump money into this race, and so I'm doing everything I can to raise money so that I can stay and be a voice here in Congress.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. It was a pleasure seeing you the other night as well, Congresswoman.
Thank you, Eric.